Heyo folks, this is Ham the Guinness Gamer here again, bringing you my next video on Ashes of Creation. Today's video is going to be about novice gathering tools, how to get them and why you might want to get them. Before I get into that, if you like this video, give me a like and a subscribe, and any other comments to make, leave them down below. But for now, let's get straight into it. So when you start Ashes of Creation, one of the first quests that you will do will be to get the crude gathering tools and to get the horse, and you'll pick that up either in Samia's Hope or in Lionhold. Now once you get that, easy enough. I'm not going to explain how you do that quest, it's straightforward enough to do, but the tools that you get are crude gathering tools, and these are exactly what they sound like. They are the poorest quality tools that you can possibly get. So if you look here, I still have the 4 crude quality tools, but what I have is an upgraded herbalism sickle. Now, difference between these, other than my sickle there being uncommon, which I'll explain in a second, it's actually a novice sickle as well, whereas these other ones are crude. Now it takes a bit of effort to upgrade each one of these, and a bit of a bit of maths and stuff, so that's why I've only done one so far. The reason why you should do it and why I'd recommend you do it is basically durability. If you look here at your fishing pole and your axe, the crude ones, the maximum durability is 110, and if you look here at the sickle, it's 225. Now again, the sickle is uncommon, so it's not quite a fair comparison, but still the reason why you should do it is primarily for that increase in durability. I didn't do it in phase 1. I didn't really realize you could do it, to be honest, and I was basically, my herbalism sickle and my mining axe and everything were breaking quite often before I had done my full gathering run. So before phase 2, so in phase 1 the durability was only 60. They have increased it a wee bit for these crude tools, but still 110 isn't enough. If you empty your inventory and go out with 2 2 mining bags and such, your mining pickaxe will break, your crude mining pickaxe will break before you're able to fill your inventory. And that's the same for the majority of the gathering professions. I mean, if you only, for lumberjacking, if you only stick to adult trees, you probably fill your backpack before your durability runs out, but still, you know, who just sticks to adult trees? I would take longer than it needs to. So really, I would recommend that everybody get the novice gathering tools. You can get these immediately. You don't have to level up or anything. You can do it before you've even used the crude tools. The limiting factor, which I'll discuss in a second, will be resources, particularly the way the servers are at the minute. So hence again why I say I've only upgraded one, and I've chosen the sickle because I'm going to use it most. So if you have lots and lots of resources, I would upgrade them all, to be honest, but you're probably not going to if you're like me. If you look here at, if you hit P and bring up your artisan window, you can look at each individual gathering profession, and you can click on novice, the novice tool, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to make it. So the novice lumberjacking axe here is 10 oak timber, 10 copper fragments, and 1 basalt weapon mold. Now the mining axe is exactly the same: 10 oak timber, 10 copper fragments, 1 basalt. Weapon mold, 10 oak timber, 10 copper fragments, 1 basalt weapon mold for herbalism. Now fishing is 1 oak timber, 20 linen thread, and 1 copper fragments, which isn't so bad because linen's a lot easier to come across than copper fragments. And then hunting, again 20 oak timber, 1 linen thread, and 1 copper fragments. That's interesting. This is actually 20 linen thread, 1 timber. Hunting's 20 timber, 1 linen thread. Either way, it doesn't matter. The limit in the oak timber is easy come by because there's oak trees everywhere. You can get that really easily. The linen thread, you can get a bit of flax, or if you want to go to a vendor, you can buy flaxseed and water, and you just need some droppings to be able to create that. The copper fragments, it's the difficult one to come by, and that's why it's in all of them, but it's most noticeable then in the mining pickaxe, the lumberjacking axe, and the herbalism sickle, because they all need 10. So that's ultimately would probably be why you don't upgrade all of them, because that's 30 between those three, and then fishing there needs 1 and hunting needs 1, so that's 32 copper fragments you need overall to upgrade them. Only worth it if you're going to be actively gathering all 5 gathering professions, because if you're just gathering mining nodes every so often, your crude mining pickaxe will be good enough for you, because you're never going to run out of durability on it as long as you repair it every time you come back to a town. Whereas if you're actively going out to fill your backpacks with wood or with stone and metal or with herbs, then you should definitely upgrade them. So how do you upgrade them? Well, I'm standing here at the storage clerk just so you know where I'm running to and from. Depending on what one you're doing, you need to make all of these items. So all of these items that are used in making the tools, they are all processed in some regard. So oak timber, I'm explaining this as if you know nothing, absolutely nothing about the professions in ashes at this stage. So the oak timber, what you go out and you chop oak trees until you get 10 oak wood. Not oak timber, oak wood, alright, and if that'll only be 2 adult trees or maybe 3 or 4 of the smaller trees. And then what you do is you would bring this oak wood to the lumber milling station here, and you would turn that oak wood into oak timber. So you click on oak timber here, you go job size 10, assuming you have 10 oak wood in your inventory, this will fill here. Then you need to put fuel on it, and generally just use wood or herbs for fuel. So you need to select 10 fuel. So there I'd select 2 pieces of wood, and that's enough fuel to make these 10. Obviously I don't have the oak wood in my inventory, but you would put that through there, and it would take a bit of time, take 10 minutes for that to actually produce the oak wood into oak timber. And then you would have the 10 oak timber that you need. You do exactly the same round the corner here in the metal working station to make the copper fragments. Alright, so if you need 10 copper, so you'd need to go out and you'd need to mine 10 copper, or you'd need to buy 10 copper. Then you bring them back here, you put them in here, 10, do the same process again. Copper fragments 10, add some fuel and wait for them to produce. And then the last one then is the basalt weapon mold, which is done in here in the stone masonry station. Alright, basalt weapon mold there, and exactly the same thing except you only need 1, and you would produce it, use some fuel and wait a minute, and that would produce. Now that's to make the 3 the lumberjacking axe, the mining pickaxe and the herbalism sickle. To get the linen thread then for the fishing rod and the hunting bow, you can do it a couple of different ways, but ultimately you go to farming here and you would you can either get flax in the wild, so you can pick that up, although it is fairly rare, and you can harvest that with your crude sickle and get it, or you can make it here if you have droppings. So you can buy flaxseed and water from the vendor over there, Gerard Belfort. You buy the flaxseed and you buy the water, and you bring your own droppings, so you have to have got them by killing mobs out in the wild, mostly animal mobs. So you'd have some droppings, combine them with flaxseed and water, again put some fuel in, make as many as you want, and ultimately once it's ready, the 5 minutes that this took to make will be up here, and you just hit claim to get it. Alright, and once you have the flax, then you go to the weaving place here, and again I've got some sitting here that we're waiting on. You put the flax in here again, choose your job site, put your fuel in and wait the time for it to produce. Alright, and then you get the linen thread. And the last thing then to make these was fishing needed copper fragments, oak timber and linen thread. So that's how you make all 3 of them, and yeah, oak timber, linen thread and copper fragments. So once you've produced all them, you'll have all of the necessary mats to make the tools. And what you do is you bring those mats to the tool station. Now there's 5 different tool stations in 5 different places. Some of them are kind of half hidden, so I'm going to run through them here now. So again, just for reference, that's the vendor over there, or sorry, that's the storage master over there, and that's the vendor here. So right beside the vendor is the lumberjack and tools one, so that's easy found. So if you click on it, you'll see here Novice lumberjack and axe. You can add your oak timber, add your copper fragments, and add your basalt weapon mold. Alright, so that's for the lumberjack and axe. If you run in here, the mining tools pickaxe guy is here. Alright, Novice mining pickaxe. So those two are pretty close together. The one that took me a while to actually find is the herbalism tools guy, which is over in this corner building upstairs. So if you're on up here, it's around here on your left, herbalism tools, Novice. And then jump down. The last two then are in the same building, which makes a bit of sense. It's in the kind of hunting and tanning building. So in here, if you're on in hunting tools on the ground floor, and then fishing tools upstairs. Alright, now last thing that I haven't mentioned is the rarities. So all of this here shows using, or what I've shown so far is using common rarities of everything. If you want to upgrade the rarity of your tool, then you just have to use more rare resources. Now what I would say with the way copper was in phase 1 and still is now, in fact it's maybe even worse now, as I said earlier, it's very hard to come by. I wouldn't be using higher quality copper to make your novice tools, and the reason for that is if you click here on the apprentice herbalism sickle, you need copper fragments for it as well. Once you reach level 10, you need copper fragments for, well, it's essentially the same mats really, other than the timber upgrades from oak timber to western larch timber. Again, that's easy enough found. Why I wouldn't use your higher rarity copper fragments to make your novice tool is by the time you come around to making your apprentice tool, you probably won't have replaced them. So if you're sitting there with 10 heroic copper, if you're lucky enough to do that, do not make your novice tool with it. Save it for your apprentice tool, because the buffs you get will be so much better. If you look here at the uncommon sickle that I made. Now the reason why I made an uncommon one is because I had rare wood, I had rare oak wood, which I figure I'll replace pretty easily. I did not use rare copper, I used common copper, and I used a common basalt armor mold as well. I mean, you could get a higher rarity basalt probably easier than you can get copper, so if you wanted to use some of it in making your novice tool, that's okay, but I just would not be using higher rarity copper. The reason why it's good to get an uncommon one is it gives you a bit more durability, it gives you a bit of speed, but it's not really worth wasting any mats that you can't replace, i.e. the copper. So I used rare oak wood on this and common copper, common basalt mold, and then it averages them out and it gives you an uncommon one. The speed rating that you get with it, it's noticeable, but it's not anything to write home about. It's nothing special. It's not a reason to spend mats to try and get, a better sickle. Now, if you have a higher rarity novice tool, you can get better procs on it, you can get better stats, you'll always get better durability, and you'll always get better herbalism speed, but I just say it's not worth it unless you have, 50 or 100 heroic copper sitting about. Then yeah, why not, because you've got loads to spare, but I don't think anybody has that sitting around, to be honest. So just stick with a novice one, don't be wasting higher level mats. Maybe because the hunting bow and the fishing rod only use 1 copper, I mean, maybe if you have 1 or 2 sitting about, but to be honest, all you're doing it for is the durability, and you'll get decent durability from your common novice tool anyway. The reason why I made the uncommon one, as I say, was just because I had some oak wood of a higher rarity sitting about, so I wouldn't recommend wasting the mats. Last thing then I would say is you don't have to make the tools in the node, although it's definitely the handiest place to do it because it has all of the stations and all of the crafting stations and all of the tool stations. You can make them in different parts of the map. You can make where are we now? We will scroll down here, all towards the starting area. You know, there's an agricultural supply vendor down here near Avon's End. That's where you'd make the herbalism tools. There's a fishing supply guy over here by the cookhouse, east of Briarmoor Farms. That's where you would make the fishing one. The wood shop as well is near there, and the stoneworks is near there as well. You know, so you can do that. But when all the stations are in the node right beside each other, it's easier probably to do it here, unless you want to do it ASAP once you're out of Lionhold or Samia's Hope. But that's completely up to you. But I'm gonna leave that here. Already a longer video than I intended it to be. If you've liked this, give me a like and a subscribe. Any comments to make, blah blah blah. But for now, wherever you are, goodbye and good luck.